Hello and welcome. You are watching News 9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar, and at this hour, this morning, this Thursday morning, we are discussing the caste survey that is being undertaken in the state of Odisha. The Odisha government began its first ever survey of social and educational conditions of people belonging to 208 backward castes. This survey will be conducted until the 27th of May, and it began on the 1st of May. Odisha is the second state in India to conduct this survey after Bihar. The questionnaire for the survey includes the kind of houses they live in, their livelihoods, access to infrastructure, hospitals, schools, markets, colleges, and such others. The idea is to find out the social and educational status of backward classes and, in turn, help with focused planning for their socio-economic development. Meanwhile, at the national level, the Congress party has recently been demanding that a caste census be conducted. India's last census was conducted back in the year 2011, and the next census a decade later was postponed due to the pandemic. We have a bunch of very special guests joining us this morning on News 9 Live to take this discussion forward. We have Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist, joining us, and we also have Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, joining us, and Shiv Pujan Jha, senior journalist as well. Thank you, all three of you, for taking time out this Thursday morning for being with us. I'm going to begin with Shikha Mukherjee. Shikha, talk to us. How do you view this particular, because there's a difference between a caste census and a caste survey. Bihar as a state has done this. Now we have Odisha doing this to understand at what level of development are these backward castes at this stage. Whereas India as a country is yet to have a normal census, leave alone a caste census, a normal census since the year 2011, because it was postponed due to the pandemic, and it's yet to be undertaken. And right now, we are building up towards an election, so God knows when the next census is going to be. But then the question of the caste census at national level rings problematically for so many people. They're saying that why the hell do a caste census? Why do you need a caste census? Because that just will create, will just deepen the divide within the country. Whereas at a state level, administrations seem to be understanding that, this is a reality that you have to contend with.
Well, I think, there are two issues here. Number one, the fact that the census per se has not been done on time is a disgrace for India, because India was one of the forerunners in having a census on a regular basis for over 100 years. Now, that having said that, let me go back to the difference between a census and a survey. A census is an extremely technical, well understood process, and that requires a kind of specialization which, other than the census commission, no one has that kind of technical expertise. A survey is a stopgap arrangement, and the necessity of a survey is very clear. I mean, why are we only focusing on what Odisha is doing today? Bihar went in for this survey a little while ago. Way back in Yogi Adityanath's first term in Uttar Pradesh, he also got a survey done, and it was it was called the Samajik Nyaya Samiti report. The point is that states feel that there is a need. And if the states feel that there is a need, there is obviously a national need. And the fact that there was a caste census, a socioeconomic census of castes included, with the 2011 census, it means that there was a clear understanding that there was a need to figure out what is the condition of the backward caste, the lower castes within the caste categories. And of course, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are in any case counted within the census. We as a country, need to address the issues of backwardness among certain categories of people. And in order to do so, you need data. How do you plan, how do you program, how do you create schemes, how do you get an understanding of where are the issues? I mean, you look at the structure of Odisha's survey. Access to infrastructure is what the focus is on. Hospitals, schools, uh, jobs, colleges, other
Right.
institutions.
Right.
You see, this is exactly where the barriers come in. It is exactly where social attitudes, deeply embedded, rooted social attitudes come in. And this is where the need really is. How do you overcome the inherited biases and prejudices of a social milieu where caste is an extremely important marker of your identity.
Absolutely.
And the only way to overcome it is by looking at
Absolutely.
how people are doing.
Shikha, could you stay with us? Let me just take this across to Amitabh Tiwari as well. Amitabh Tiwari, caste is the single most important unit of identity in this country, across the country, north to south, east to west. So in that sense, the demand for a caste census is not misplaced in a country like this, because let's face it, all politics with every election gets played on the basis of caste. Religion is an add-on, depending upon the times that we live in.
See, caste is central to the Indian political system and electoral system, as you said. But you need to understand that there is a lot of politics behind this decision. Naveen Patnaik ji is realizing in his sixth term, or rather in his fifth term, that he needs to do a OBC survey. Nitish Kumar is realizing, after being 20 years in power, that the backwards of his state have not been able to get the required benefits, and that's why he needs a survey. So there is a lot of politics behind this survey. What ma'am is saying is the actual need of the survey, but we need to understand that over the years, and since the last 9 years, with BJP being able to eliminate the caste and religion-wise voting largely in the north, central and the western parts of the country, the so-called ex-Janata Dal constituents or parties, which have been the single most largest beneficiary of the Mandal Commission recommendation in the terms of votes. Because if you recall, even VP Singh, when he announced the Mandal, it was essentially to tame the Kamandal, the Rath Yatra, which was being taken by LK Advani at that point of time. So the OBC, by providing OBC reservation, the Janata Dal and the ex-Janata Dal parties, BJD including, JDU including, Samajwadi Party and others, JDS, etc., have benefited a lot. But in the last 9 years, so in 2009, BJP's vote share from OBCs used to be 22%. In 2019, this has increased to 44% as per CSDS survey. And this is the largest block of the population, 41 to 42% nationally. So if a large section of people have moved from voting on the caste lines to a larger Hindutva parameter, the opposition, including Congress and more specifically the Janata Dal parties, are feeling threat. Even in Odisha, in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, general elections, BJP outscored BJD amongst the OBCs in terms of support. So that's a big worry for the party going forward. Naveen Patnaik is, of course, fairly strong in the state, but in the national elections, he feels that the BJP closed the gap last time, 12-8 and 1 seat to the Congress. This time BJP could outdo him, and he also needs a new plank. See, every election Naveen Patnaik throws up something. So once he has won on the basis of a 1 rupee, 2 rupee kg rice, once he broke the alliance with BJP and showed his secular credentials when this attacks on the Christians, etc., were happening. Last election was largely won on the plank of the Kalia scheme, which was a cash dole scheme for the farmers. And in this election, see, if you are in 25 years in power, what do you, I mean, you have to take something new to the electorate every election. So this is a card which he has placed, keeping the state elections in mind and driving the narrative for the next polls.
Right, Shiv Pujan Jha, would you concur with what Mr. Amitabh Tiwari's analysis is, which is basically saying that, while the fundamental reason for a caste survey, caste census, all of that is fine, all of that is good, but look at the two states, and the two people who have put into place their caste surveys, Bihar with Nitish Kumar and Odisha with Naveen Patnaik, they have political reasons because they face such huge incumbency when it comes to their next elections.
Yes, I would agree with you. The fact being that most of these political leaders, primarily I would say, the regional parties and the regional chapters, somewhere down the line, they do have that kind of feeling which is developing really fast, that it's very difficult for them to stop the BJP, which seems to be really riding high on the agenda of, call it Hinduism, nationalism, the Modi cult, as well as all the welfare schemes. So they know that they have to devise schemes. They have yet again to fall back upon the so-called rigid, fragmented society, which is the caste being the most important factor there. And that is the reason why we see that in the recent times there was this kind of hue and cry repeated requests being made by political parties like the RJD and the JDU for having a caste-based census. Well, Bihar presently is passing through the second phase of caste-based census, and we are expecting that this will possibly end by 15th of May. But what is going to be the end result of it? More fragmentation in the society? Or is it that the welfare schemes, which the government submitted in the court, categorically saying that for them it would be easier to frame policies and programs and to target that particular section within the society which has been left out, which has completely been marginalized? It remains to be seen, but primarily it is an attempt to gain relevance in the present context where most of these political parties, they're getting the feeling of being elbowed out by the BJP.
Right. Let me take this back then to where this discussion began. That's to Shikha Mukherjee. None of these other gentlemen on the panel, seem to have questions on why do we need a caste census or a caste survey. But just look at it with the political lens. Look at the people who have put it into place. They've got reasons for a caste survey because that seems to be the only way forward to make sure their anti-incumbency factor gets dealt with.
I strongly disagree with that formulation. If one looks at the Karnataka elections which are underway now, what is happening there? Caste. I mean, to the point when reservations are being tinkered with and a 2% deduction has been made from a reservation for the backward Muslims and has been allocated to the Hindus. Everyone is talking only all the time about the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas. Therefore, caste has been eradicated in national politics. Caste has been made irrelevant in national politics. That's a joke. The BJP has done nothing of the sort.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at UP. In UP, you had this micromanagement of not only the OBCs but also of the sections of the Dalit population. Look at the fact that these new parties that came up did so that they could be represented. And they were a part of the NDA alliance. It's a different matter that they were quit. But the fact is that caste is something that all political parties, irrespective of whether their priority and their agenda and their top campaign issue is Hindutva. Regardless of that, caste is something on which every political party, except for some states where caste actually doesn't matter.
Right, I was about to ask that question. Right, I was about to ask a question, Shikha, because I come from Chennai, where Tamil Nadu, where caste is the single most important thing when it comes to voting. Apart from cash. Amitabh Tiwari, if I can take this across to you, there is this levels in terms of how important caste is as a form of identity to people, and it's always been that case where national parties, be it the Congress or the BJP, have always found fault with local parties, state level parties, saying, oh, you instigate casteist feelings. This has been the constant narrative from Delhi to all the states. Having grown up in Tamil Nadu, I can confidently tell you that. But the fact of the matter is that if you grew up in Tamil Nadu, if you grew up in Kerala, if you grew up in Andhra, if you grew up in Telangana, if you grew up in in Karnataka, I can confidently tell you that caste is the single most important thing, and there is not enough understanding of how affirmative action has either benefited or not benefited backward castes and the SCs and the STs since we put them into place post independence. So in that sense, the demand and the fact that you have these state level parties, for example, when the DMK talks of social justice, national level parties dismisses as a political plank, whereas the DK as a party and DMK as a party came on the plank of social justice based on castes and upliftment of the backward castes. So why is it that at a national level this is always derided as instigating more divisions within the people, as if you don't discuss it, caste will just go away one fine day?
No, again, see, I think you are misinterpreting what I said or what the other panelist has said. Caste is central to the electoral political system in India. That was the first statement. 55% of people vote on the basis of caste in India, as per a Aziz Premji Institute survey. That does not mean that you need a caste-based survey, because these things are automatically taken care of when the census takes place, number one. I am talking about the real motive behind what the caste-based survey. At this point of time, in probably the last year of his tenure of 25 years, and if he wins for another 5 years, I am questioning the timing and the real political intent behind it. Number one. Number two, does Nitish Kumar or does Naveen Patnaik, or you mentioned DMK, TRS, do these parties do not know what is the population of a particular caste in a particular state? I have been doing election campaigns for many parties, and all these numbers are already with political parties. All the ticket distribution which happens is on the basis of caste, correct?
Exactly.
So they already know what is the percentage of OBCs, and not only OBCs, what is the percentage of each subcaste within the OBC, because that is how the ticket is distributed. Now, it is very important to understand the social, economic backwardness amongst OBCs, SCs, STs in states, but I am questioning on the timing. How Naveen Patnaik got enlightened about conducting a caste census in the last year of his 25th year term, and how and why Nitish Kumar has suddenly realized that the OBCs of the state are backward despite him being in 20 years in power, and you need a caste census. So there is, what I'm trying to say is that there is a political angle behind it, because OBCs have consolidated behind the BJP largely, because in India, I mean, in a multi-party system, if BJP is getting 44%, and as per Axis survey, it is 58% actually. So whatever, let's say 50% of a community or a class voting for a particular party, which was earlier voting for regional parties or for the Congress, is a big worry for the regional parties, and they want to now divide this community which is voting en bloc for a party on the premise that BJP is opposing the caste census, and it does not want
fair enough. Amitabh Tiwari, fair enough, point taken. Stay with us, because we have Nitish Kumar, in fact, speaking live at this point in time. Let's cut across and listen in to what he's saying.
सब लोगों ने कहा था कि अब आगे होगा अब इस बार तो मेरे हो ही नहीं रहा है भाई। जो होता है हर 10 साल पूरे देश के बारे में, तो वही नहीं हो रहा है अभी। जाति आधारित की बात नहीं कर रहे, पूरे कुछ कर रहे हैं। अब आप जानते जो गिनती होता है देश के आबादी का सब कुछ का, तो उसमें क्या पहले से जो माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी के हैं तो उनका होता है पूरा गिनती, और उनकी अलग अलग जो जातियां हैं उसकी भी गिनती हो जाती है। और आप जानते हैं जो पहले से होता है शेड्यूल कास्ट और शेड्यूल ट्राइब, दोनों की गिनती हो जाती है। तो इतने की गिनती होती है तो हम लोग कह रहे थे बाकी सब की गिनती हो जाए, चाहे पिछड़ा हो या ऊंची जाति के हो, कोई भी हो, सबके लिए कह रहे हैं। तो क्या चीज का विरोध लोग कर रहे हैं? अगर हो जाएगा तो उससे नुकसान किसको है बोलिए? अगर हम लोग तो कर रहे हैं कि उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति भी देख लेंगे, तो कोई किसी जाति का हो, किसी भी धर्म का हो, उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति को सुधार के लिए भी राज्य सरकार पहल करेगी और ज्यादा जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, तो सबके हित में हो रहा है। और आप देख लीजिए, पूरे बिहार में घूम लीजिए, आपको इक्का दुक्का कोई आदमी इधर उधर जो बोल दे इस तरह की बात करता है, सब लोग, कोई नहीं विरोध में होता, सब लोग ठीक से काम कर रहा है, सब कुछ कर रहा है। लेकिन हमको तो आश्चर्य होता है कि इन सब चीजों पर कैसे होता है, इसका क्या आधार है? कोई आधार तो है नहीं। ये तो बहुत ही जेन्युइन चीज है भाई। तब भी अब क्या होता है, हम लोग तो किए हैं, पूरे सब लोगों की राय से किए हैं। आप सब लोगों को अच्छी तरह याद है, अपना पुराना देख लीजिए। अब आजकल आ गया सोशल मीडिया, तो हो सकता है इसी।
Right, Nitish Kumar there, Amitabh Tiwari, that's the question I wanted to ask you. Nitish Kumar just asked that. I hope you were listening. And Shiv Pujan Jha, both of you gentlemen, I want to ask the same question. We're talking about a time when the census has not happened. And we don't know. We don't have dates about the next census. What is wrong in Nitish Kumar asking for a normal census? That's his point, that if we have a normal census, we'd know exactly where it stands. The last time we even counted how many of us we were, because considering the rate of growth of population, especially in the north of India, in 2011 was the last time we counted ourselves. It's 2023 and we have an election in 2024, and there is absolutely no guarantee when the next census is going to take place. In the meanwhile, if states were to go for their own caste surveys, what is wrong in that, Shiv Pujan Jha?
Yes, obviously that is the stand which has been taken by Nitish Kumar, and he has been reiterating his stand for quite some time. But I want to pose a counter question. During the phase of lockdown, there was also a skill mapping which was done with the sole intent of providing meaningful employment to all the people who migrated back to the state of Bihar in large numbers. 28 to 30 lakh people. So skill mapping was done at that point in time. Now, the skill mapping which was done at a whooping cost that has been put aside completely and is hardly being used. All the people who came back to the state have once again preferred to migrate because there is lack of meaningful employment. What purpose does Nitish Kumar want to achieve? That remains to be seen. But what I see that in the days to come, there would be more fragmentation within the society, and there would be, because Bihar is a place where we have seen that caste conflicts, that is commonplace. It has taken place, and there has been systematic elimination of a particular caste by the other caste people. There have been caste wars that have taken place. Now, after the caste-based census which presently is on, I think there is an attempt to drive a wedge further in the society. Caste is definitely a reality. Most of these political parties, they do have a fair knowledge of what exactly is the status of which caste where. Now, the problem which most of these people who are approximately 19,000 people who have been engaged in this mammoth task of collecting the massive data from across the state, which we are expecting that possibly it will be completed by 15th of May. The biggest problem is that it is difficult to exactly get down the economic status of the people, because we have been getting reports from the field that they have been concealing this kind of information. What I feel is that in the days to come, there will be further fragmentation that is bound to take place after this census is made public. But then again, the big question is, will the census will ever be made public? Has it been made public in the case of Telangana? Has it been made public in the case of Karnataka?
Well, we'll have to wait on that, and we'll have to wait on to see when the national census will also take place as well. But for now, Shiv Pujan Jha, senior journalist, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, thank you so much for being with us. And of course, Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us this morning on this discussion on News9 Live. And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. This is Krishna Kumar signing off. Keep it with News9.